Hey everyone, this is Chris with Elemental Play, and I am super excited today to be opening the Time Spinning Witch booster box. This is a really exciting set. There's a lot of really cool stuff in it. It's got some neat rulers, it's got some really powerful cards, a lot of stuff that interacts with some older mechanics that are finally being brought back through the current New Frontiers play anyway, and it's not going back as far as your stealth or anything like that, but still a lot of really cool stuff here. I'm also using today my Time Spinning Witch pre-release mat, which I really like. Unfortunately, my distributor was not able to get the actual Time Spinning Witch buy a box or buy 3 boxes or whatever mat to me on time, so I'll get that in the future. Not a big deal. But let's go ahead and crack this open. We can talk about it as we go. So one big thing here that you might notice is it's the slimmer box style. What is it? The kind of flimsy cardboard. I was a little disappointed by this. This isn't a second run or anything. It's actually how they're releasing this one. In the past, they've given us these sturdier boxes, and then they went on to give us ones that were even built for storing cards. And I guess I've got, a dozen of those upstairs, so I can always use them, but this one doesn't have that. So I'm actually curious what the stone pack is going to look like in this as well. So, oh, well, there you go. It's just stuffed right in the center. So let's start with that. We're all pretty used to the stone and basic ruler pack, but this also has the promo in it, which we all love. Let's open that up. Oh, they're sealed. I don't remember if they were sealed before, but there's our promo. That's a really sweet promo. Single-sided. We know the inverse is a mechanic in this set, so this one gives resonators gain -200, -200. So this is good for keeping the tiny ones off the field. If you're playing a slightly bigger deck, one that's based around having those big creatures out, this can really hurt against someone who's playing the little monodorks and things like that. Then we've got our stones here, and some of our rulers. So let's go ahead and open this up. Let's see. I'm not going to be able to get it open today. There we go. So inside here, I think we're all pretty used to what we get here. So we've got all of our stones. Oh, and that's kind of interesting. They're out of order, which is, I don't know if that's cool or annoying, but it gives for a nice, pretty little rainbow when I spread it out, right? It's neat. There's not really any point in that, but and we've got the same basic rulers. We're pretty used to these. These are great for drafting. Stores end up getting a lot of them in stock, so they'll be able to just get them in front of you real easy. The draft I did recently, they just let you pick whichever one you wanted, and you could just play with it. So, Time Spinning Witch packs. You've probably seen these at this point. I've shown them off on my channel. So let's just start cracking into them, and we'll see what we get. I will set kind of an expectation, not an expectation, what I'm hoping for. I want to get a couple Rachels because I'm a dirty Lumia player, and I want to try them out, even though they're going to be banned in like 3 weeks. And I'd love to get an Aimul or a Scarlet. Those are my big pulls that I'd really like to see today. Now, there's also apparently a pretty high pull rate for Chase Ubers. My understanding is there is at least one Uber of the starter rulers in every set, or every box. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. I've got a few sources claiming that it does, but we will find out. Now, of course, we all know about the misprints on the rulers, so that's something to be expected, but that doesn't happen on the Ubers, so that's fine. Something else that's interesting is they're putting the rares and the foils in the center of the packs now. I'm not really sure what the purpose behind that is. They also put the inverse cards in upside down. So if you see a card that doesn't have any mana symbols on it, mana, I should really get used to saying will, any will symbols on it, then you know that it's probably an inverse. I'll try to catch them where I can, but I'm not real good about it. I've accidentally played before with an inverse card and not noticed, so it wasn't really a big deal. It didn't change the outcome of any games, but it was still a thing, I guess. So I'm seeing a lot of really fun stuff come out in these sets. Destroy Target Attacking Resonator, that's a really cool one-cost card. They're starting to give us the kinds of things that you really want to hang on to your stones for, kind of keep them untapped, unrested. Again, wrong terms. Someone corrected me after my last video. I ran into one of these. This isn't paying 2 to get a barrier, it's barrier against these two. So you're getting a barrier against fire and darkness cards. I assume that means all fire and darkness, so chance, maybe, I guess not additions. Barrier requires targeting. Whatever the case may be. So these cards are really beautiful. I love the art. That's really kind of neat. It does it almost intentionally shows that there's some art that goes right to the edges. I think Force of Will is starting to get its footing back, and I'm really hopeful that they'll be able to really find their place in the gaming world with this set and other upcoming ones. They've recently gotten a new community manager. His name's Jeff Finnegan. He seems like a really cool guy. Coincidentally, he's actually from my area, but he doesn't live here anymore. He's out in Japan, but he has a pretty good grasp of the gaming industry, and he likes interacting with the community, which is a lot of fun. You can go into a Facebook group and find him there. He'll talk to you. You know, it doesn't feel like some distant entity that you're trying to reach out to. He's actually there and a part of everything. This card here, Secluded Village Elf, this is kind of interesting because it's I want to call it a mana dork, but that's not really the case. It's a 3-cost with barrier that produces green. It's a good card, but you're also getting it out a bit late, so it's tough to say whether or not it's always worth it. It's not going to replace your Sacred Elves, but it's something that you could consider putting in if you really need that extra mana as you go and don't have any other way to guarantee it staying out. People know to remove those cards now, so everyone's pretty careful of it. That's a really beautiful full art there. It's hard to look away from. Cancel target spell unless your opponent pays X. That's pretty good. Green is getting a lot of power. I don't know that that's a good thing. They can kind of do whatever they want in green now because it's an all-around strong color. I'm hoping that gets rotated out in future sets. I mean, again, don't get me wrong, I play Lumia, I play greens, but I get where the argument comes from when people say it does too much. It kind of does. Green shouldn't be mana ramp and removal and you know, and beastly cards. I mean, this a 1300 that has Death Touch, it's really strong, and it's a common. I mean, these are tough cards to beat. So, well, I'll be interested to see how that goes. Oh, that's cool. My my foil slot here is a super rare full art. Ruined Story is a really good card. It can be played, you can play it in your Scheherazade deck, or you can play it as part of your, or really any other deck. It just has one ability that doesn't work outside of Scheherazade. Got a dual stone there specifically for this set. There's a lot of really fun cards here. I keep flipping them over just to make sure I didn't miss an inverse. I want to try and show off as much as I can, but I'm going to start speeding through some of these too. I've got a lot of packs to go, and you don't want to hear me ramble on forever, right? Can't be that interesting. Serpent, Refuse Collector, Stagehand Doll. In other words, put into your opponent's graveyard from a non-removed area, move it from the game. That's a fun one. There is some cool balance for darkness in here. There's some neat stuff for water. I mean, they did create a lot of good cards overall in these sets. An interesting conversation I had with a coworker actually the other day, who he's kind of he just started with the company I work for a month ago or so, and he and I were talking about Magic and Force of Will, and he is a Magic player, and he was saying he likes Force of Will so far, but it's because it feels like vintage original Magic. It's a really, really powerful game. The cards are almost overpowered in some cases, but because everything's strong, it all has, it's all strong against each other as well. So even though you're coming out swinging with, 2 2s or whatever, it's still, everything's still counterable. It still balances out. And, the biggest concern is probably the power creep, obviously, because it keeps, some of this stuff keeps getting stronger, but we'll have to kind of see where it goes. And with the cycling out through sets, it's not really as big a deal. Here's a variant. They're still doing variant cards, which is really cool. So there's a Mad Scarlacidon? I don't know. Non-variant as well, and I don't remember what that one does. I want to say it has a different attack defense. Probably doesn't get pierced with null. But graveyard play is going to be a thing with this set, which is kind of pretty cool. Oh, and there's a full art of that one. I love Imul. I think she's really neat, and I know she's anti-Lumia. Of course I love her. She's my girl. Let's keep this going. Now, I think I mentioned there's expected to be one Uber in every box, which is interesting. So at least I know that I'll be getting something cool out of this set. I think I talked a little bit about it in my last video, but there are a couple new abilities in this set. One of them is Null. Null happens when you are playing either the last card from your hand or your hand is completely empty, depending on the situation. So if it's a chant that says Null, it's the last card you're playing out of your hand. If it's a resonator that's on the board, then your hand has to be empty for that ability to activate. So that's going to be your decks that build around graveyards, your decks that require a lot of discarding. Oh, Dr. Mermaid, this card's a lot of fun. You get to actually remove damage from target resonator at instant speed. I assume that means your resonator can actually take full damage, enough to kill it. You tap it and it just removes it. I don't know how that interacts with things like Death Touch. I assume they would still die. We don't call it Death Touch in this game. There's not really a keyword for it yet, but it does say if a target resonator takes damage, or if a resonator takes damage from this card, it dies. So I assume removing damage wouldn't prevent that, because it did still take damage. I'm sure we can get clarifications on it, though. So anyway, you've got your null, which there's one there. So this card gains the following text as long as you have no cards in your hand. It gains 3/3 and precision. So I mean that's pretty good, but that means that it's not going to have that 3/3 on your first turn. It's just not going to happen. There's no way. You can't mulligan down for it or anything. So that's that's a fun ability for graveyard decks. Play a lot of Remnant, but that also means that we're probably going to see more sideboards that require that have cards that remove the graveyard. Now this is one of the cards I was looking for. So this is Rachel, the Ancient Library Researcher. She is OP. When this card enters the field, look at the top 3 cards of target player's deck, put any number of them in their owner's graveyard and the rest on the top of their owner's deck in any order. When it leaves the field, search your deck for a card and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Yeah, so this is, it's almost not fair. It's like a Chittering Rats, but then it also has deck control for yourself. It's all in one turn. If someone's not ready to remove this card, it's going to overpower the game. People have been calling for its ban since before it even came out, because I actually have this here. In case you don't know, with Lumia, at the end of your turn, if you So remove a target rested resonator from you control from the game, put it back into its owner's field, and when she attacks, she removes a target resonator from the game and brings it back rested. So either way, you're sending out a resonator, bringing it back. So that can be kind of nasty. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do with that card right now. Here is my Lumia deck. We are going to find, perfect, an Otherworld's Dreams, which I'm sure nobody misses. And we are going to get rid of that, right? And this girl is going right in there. Put her right back in my deck. And now my deck is too strong. So, so that's what we're doing with that. This can go up there, I guess. I'll probably go far enough today to crack at least one ruler. I'd like to see what I find. Oh, Variant Enormous Effigy. Whenever damage is dealt to you, this card deals that much damage to your opponent. Wow. This card might be better than the variant, and I'm going to go grab that just so we can take a look. I'm going to touch on... Oh, these are good too. Flying and Drain. Just flying. I'm going to grab the other one of that, but first I want to touch on the Twin Blades of Hope and Despair. This card's really powerful. It boosts one of your resonators while debuffing an opponent's, and then when you remove it, it inverts. And can only be played from your removed area, so it actually gets exiled upon being removed from the game. But then you pay its cost and it comes back in because, I mean, obviously exile isn't really removed from the game, right? And then you destroy target J resonator or target resonator with total cost 5 or less. Destroy target J resonator or put target resonator with total cost 5 or less from your graveyard in the field. That's an amazing card. It's so powerful. With a little bit of mana fixing, you can go a long way. You can almost run a 4-color deck with this. I'm curious to see if there's a way that I can run Aimul as a sideboard card for my Lumia, for cards like that. So here's your Enormous Effigy and Variant Enormous Effigy. So yeah, this one's whenever damage is dealt to this card, destroy target resonator. This one's whenever damage is dealt to you, it deals that much damage to your opponent. This feels like an effect that should really be in Darkness, and again, they gave it to Green. Green doesn't deserve these abilities. It doesn't need them. It's so powerful as it is. Green is it's every color. They put every color into green. You can do some burn effects with green. It's absurd. I can't imagine how they're going to keep Wanderer balanced with it. For those of you who don't know, Wanderer is the oh nice, another super rare. In fact, that's beautiful. That is a super rare inverse card. I love that. Look at that Grim. Wow, that's really pretty. It's textured foil too. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but the rares and super rares have a texture in this set. So, anyway, yeah, I don't know. Green is just, it does everything all at once. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, Wanderer is basically you can play every set except the first couple, which were the Valhalla sets. Those were almost a different game, and nobody really plays with those anymore. They're also really hard to get, a little bit expensive, so it's not really worth it. And a lot of them weren't that strong. Jewel Aura, she's pretty. But I'm looking into building a Wanderer deck because there's a GP coming up in Rhode Island that is Wanderer, and I have the opportunity to go to it and might be able to do that. So if that's the case, I'm gonna need something to play. I'll probably just modify my Lumia deck because I really like her and she is not banned in Wanderer, so why not? Lunar Prophet, another Rachel. I'm going to put that to the side because I am actually going to run a couple of them. None of this video or anything is staged. This is the first box of this I've opened, so you're enjoying it along with me. I do play some of these cards, and some of them I'll try and put up on my web store to sell. I got a few boxes, so I'm hoping that I can share some of this with all of you. Deadly Pox and False Peace. Played this Soaked Panda in the draft, and he was a lot of fun going up against another blue deck. We were both running the Mermaid Ruler, which is actually I've got her right here. So Mafina, the Weather's Rain on your turn for the ruler side, and always rain on the opposite side. So the weather ends up always being rain if you're up against another blue player. So this guy always has +4/+4, and then, or I'm sorry, +4/0, and then if they're trying to activate an ability and they make it Thunderstorm, then he's just that much stronger. That actually ended up happening once, and I was able to swing in with him for 700, 500, did the damage I needed to, immediately removed the card that my opponent used to make it Thunderstorm, because she hadn't flipped her ruler. She'd used a chant or something for it, or an addition maybe. I don't remember what card it was. So I removed it, and then she actually never got the benefit of it being Thunderstorm. It was a little unfair, I guess. But that's how the game plays. Weather effects are an interesting thing. You see similar things in other games now too, though. Eternal, which is an online TCG, which is a lot of fun. It's one of the only other TCGs I actually play actively, and they have Nightfall, which is a similar mechanic where certain things only happen when it's night. It can be it can be cool, but it can also be terrible, because the same sort of things happen where your opponent ends up getting the benefit and you end up missing out, even if you're the one who wanted it to be night in the first place. But at the same time, I guess, you won't really be planning too much ahead just for rain or thunderstorm unless you have maybe a couple sideboard cards for it. These dolls are creepy. The whole game is based around fairy tales, so it's not really surprising that they create dolls in it, but they are still creepy. Minstrel, Possessed Panda. So that's another inverse card. Full art. Really nice. I did hear some things. People were saying that some of their cards were peeling a little bit. I don't see any sign of that. Looking at it right now, they look pretty okay to me. They were saying it was like the commons and uncommons almost looked like they'd been scratched on the edges, and one person said that the foiling was actually separating from the cardboard. That's very possible. It could have been damaged in shipping. It could have been damaged at the warehouse. I don't know. I'm not here to discredit them. I just hope that it's something that the Force of Will company is aware of. 1 cost, destroy target resonator, and well, if you banish a doll. That's solid for a Scheherazade deck. And this card enters the field, draw a card. Yeah. It's not a resonator, so you can't bounce that with Lumia. Mentioning defects and whatnot, we do know that obviously the not the misprint, that's kind of on my mind, I guess. The foils have been curling pretty easily. I think we've all seen it. They're a little tough to flatten out, which concerns me, because if someone really wanted to cheat, it probably wouldn't be that hard to do, because they can see where their foils are. And considering that foils are often, well, unless you're running like full art commons or whatever, foils are your cards that are, they've got promos and they've got other printings of them. So, you know, you've got like Melfi, who you could put 4 of them in your deck, try to avoid foils wherever else, and get a pretty good idea of where your Melfis are in your deck. Another super rare in that slot. That's awesome. This is a really good card. It's, you know, just destroy target resonator. With null, you can destroy up to 1 target J ruler. I'm not sure if it does both. If it's null, I'm guessing it does, but someone would have to clarify on that. If not, do you have to, you know, how do you pick which one? If your hand's empty, does the null just automatically trigger? That I don't know. Again, not being a red player, and with null being such a new ability, I don't know. Sword of Fate. All right. Another super rare. I'm getting some really sweet pulls today. This is exciting. But I haven't seen a ruler yet. I don't think I overlooked it. There's no one-sided rulers in this set, right? There's what we've got: Scheherazade, Aimul, Scarlet, Kirik, Shayla, Tigris, Gil. Yeah, I don't think there's any one-sided rulers. The last one of those we had was Yggdrasil. So no, we should be good. I'm not overlooking it. I just haven't found one yet. Although to be fair, at the sealed event I went to, that did happen where someone pulled an Aimul and did not realize it. I was a little jealous. A lot jealous. He was also the guy who beat me, so, you know, He was a nice guy, though. He was a good guy. He was good-spirited about all of it. He wasn't the sore winner type that you sometimes run into. So I didn't feel so bad losing to him. He was also really good. He was running a really solid IU deck. Oh, pigs. This Mephistopheles card is very, very good. Jay Resonator's your opponent controls enter the field rested. And then on the back side, Jay Resonator, your opponent controls gain -2/-2. And they don't cause their own abilities to trigger, so that's, you know, their enter abilities and whatnot. So that's definitely a powerful card. It replaces the need for certain you know, certain other barriers. I'm sorry, not barriers. Additions to the field. So it kind of does a lot of jobs there. Oops, hit the camera. We are going really far into this set, aren't we? Before we see any of our rulers. Where are we? Ha ha! Ha 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 ha! I got one. I got a ruler, and it's not one of the silly starter deck rulers. Yeah. Oh, and it's Shayla at that. Sweet. So I pulled a Keurig in my other box, and it looks like I'm getting a Shayla here. It's the ruler side that you trade in for. So even though we've got Scheherazade on the back here, that is not the one I would get if I trade it in. She's not necessarily one of the ones that I really wanted, but as long as it's not one of those starter deck rulers, it's okay. Although, we're pretty close to the bottom, so I think I'm just going to finish this box off for you all, even though this is a little longer than most of my videos. There still should be an Uber in here as well. So let's dig through it and see which one I get, just so that I can show it off, because even with the high pull rates, it's still exciting to get an Uber on camera. Raiju, that's oh no, that's not the one I was thinking of. There's another one that makes it thunderstorm. Make it rain. Now, for those who haven't heard, there is when you send in your misprint rulers, they send you back the correct one. Like I said, they base it on the ruler side, and they give you a promo card with it as well. It's a nice Scarlet promo card. It's not the ruler. It's a chant. I'm trying to remember what it does. I want to say it deals damage. It makes one of your resonators deal its damage to every opponent's resonator or something like that. Just going to go through some of these pretty quick at this point. Just wrap up this set. I'm running out of things to talk to you guys about. I can be pretty conversational, but there's only so much I can do, and talking for a straight half an hour is a lot. I think I'm seeing something in the back of this one. What do we got? There's our Tigris Uber. So these are one per pack, one per box. So everyone is getting an Uber. Don't let the exorbitant prices online fool you. As much as I would like to sell this for $150, this is a $10 card. It's pretty though. That is a pretty card. It's, if you like Tigris, get yourself a Tigris. Got 4 packs left. Let's do this. Let's get through the rest of these packs. Maybe we'll get that cool Scarlet card I was telling you about. It is a pull in this set. It's just you get the promo version of it for sending one of these in. Action. And movement. That's such a good card. Choose one, cancel target fire chant spell, or remove all counters from your opponent's J-Ruler. Is that? I thought there was another card similar to that that was a little more powerful. I don't know. That can still slow down your opponent quite a bit, considering some opponents, require their counters to do anything. It's one of those rulers. Destroy all Resonators at total cost 1 or less. Opponent's weather is clear and cannot change. There's your sideboard card if you're really worried about going up against mermaids. And for the last card today, last pack. What do we have? All good things, all good things. All right. Well, there you have it. Here's a couple of my big pulls. Those are the really exciting ones. Here's your promo. Kind of feels like they should have made it an inverse, huh? That's okay. It's still a nice card. But I have a second video coming up. For those of you who don't know, there is also a starter deck that came out with this, and I can show that off as well. I'll do that separately. But for this one, that is our Time Spinning Witch set. It's really a powerful set. I'm hoping that it has a lot of really good implications for this game. I'm hoping that it can bring us back to what the game used to be and more. I've seen a lot of people really showing interest in getting back into it with this set coming out. And I've been able to bring in a couple people myself. I'm starting to see more tournaments popping up. I think this game has a real chance, and I want to be a part of that, and I hope that I see some of you out there as well, coming to local tournaments, your ARGs, your GPs. Make your way out to them. Don't be afraid of playing with other people. The people in this game are really nice. Everyone I've run into has been super nice, albeit I've run into some, awkward, people, but that's part of hanging out at game stores, right? So don't be afraid of them. Don't be afraid of going out and hanging out. Everyone's really friendly. If anyone's giving you a hard time, just don't let it bother you. People want to play. It's a game. It's fun. So come on out. I hope I see you out there. Thank you all for watching my video. As always, please like, subscribe, share this with people. If you like my videos, let them know I'm here. I do this for you. I'm really not I'm not making money on this. This is just something I like to do. So as long as you keep watching, I'll keep making them. Thank you again, and I'll see you around.